14 FIFA World Cup is Sudeesh Singh, a sports analyst. Sudeesh, welcome and good to have you in studio.
Good afternoon, Lebo. Pleasure to be here.
Exciting times, just
Definitely.
a couple of hours before the kickoff.
Definitely. I can imagine the atmosphere out in Brazil. It was like 4 years ago here in South Africa.
Now, looking at, it's exciting times. Obviously, there are teams that people are predicting that will do well in this tournament. Which team do you think will be able to succeed at this 2014 FIFA World Cup?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of the most open World Cups because you have at least 5 or 6 teams that are on the same level with high-quality players, and a lot of them are peaking at the same time. So it's going to be a very, very exciting and open World Cup.
And it's very important for teams, if they are to succeed at this World Cup, to have key players that can be able to turn the game for their teams.
Definitely, Lebo. And I think at this time we are privileged in this generation to have quite a few outstanding world-class players. You know, your Messi, Ronaldo, Yaya Toure, Luka Modric. A lot of the teams have at least 1 or 2 outstanding players. So it's going to be very exciting if they keep injury-free and play all the games.
Now, we look at, we've got European giants, we've got underdogs, the likes of Belgium, we've got the likes of Germany, Italy, who many say that they will go far in this tournament. But looking at the underdogs, the likes of Belgium, they can surprise many.
Yeah, I think Belgium, they've put together a program for the past 10 years. And I think, in my opinion, I think maybe it's a tournament too soon. I think maybe in 4 years' time they could peak. Now, they possibly don't have that experience at World Cup level. Yes, they have a lot of good individual players, but I think collectively as a team, they are not ready yet to challenge for the honors. But they could be an underdog, you know, an outside choice.
And talking about experience, I mean, experience is very important coming to a World Cup. We see some other teams have brought in their youth, young players, and you look at other teams have brought in a lot of experienced players that have played in 3, 4 World Cups. But experience is key at this point in time.
Exactly, exactly. You look at Spain, you look at Italy, Germany, Brazil themselves, the African teams, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Nigeria, just to mention a few. So it's going to be a lot of, that's why I said like a lot of the players who are playing at the World Cup this year are all at the peak of their career.
Goal line technology will be introduced at this tournament. Is it a good idea?
Very, very interesting. I think it's going to influence the game in a positive way. It just depends how the fans react to it and how the referees handle the whole scenario. But I think it's a positive introduction into the game.
But wouldn't it maybe, deter that spark and that moment when you actually think that it's a goal and it's not, and it's the instinct of the referee to decide that it is a goal?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that made football so emotional sport, because it was dramatic and it happened in real time. But I think with the technology that they've introduced, it's going to be a split second and a decision will be made, because it goes directly to the referees and they give a decision on the spot, unlike in cricket or rugby where they have to go via a 3rd or 4th official to get a view, you know. So it's going to be real time, a few seconds, and a decision would be made.
And talking about refereeing, about the goal line, referee is very important in such a tournament. We looked at in today's match, the referee that will be officiating in this match was a referee that officiated in the 2010 where Brazil were knocked out in the quarterfinals and issued a red card. So refereeing is also key, that decisions are key, and they can actually determine whether a team gets knocked out or they continue in the tournament.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a very important fact that you brought up, because the World Cup, you have all the best players, the best teams playing in the world. So you obviously need referees also at the same level. And unfortunately, the different confederations, Africa, Europe, Asia, the standard of refereeing is not the same. And we're always going to have this controversy where referees are not going to live up to their potential, especially when it comes to key clashes. So you rightfully mentioned that could create some controversy in the future in this run-up to the finals.
I know that we'll be talking Brazil later on, but looking at the protests that have been taking place in Brazil, do you think that would hamper on the spirit of the team, looking that this is their second chance to actually win it, hosting the tournament after losing in 1950 against Uruguay?
Yeah, I think that's also another very interesting observation. I think what we have to look is the whole social impact. And this could actually impact negatively on the Brazilian national team, because the public have their own social issues to protest about. And we know that this is the spiritual home of football, and it's Brazil, obviously. But if they don't get the whole country behind them, I just have a feeling that it could impact negatively on the team itself.
And just to wrap it up, we know that Sepp Blatter mentioned that he would want to stay in for another fifth term. UEFA delegates don't want him to be there for a fifth term. And this happening, FIFA Congress happening on the eve of the World Cup, that shouldn't, I mean, looking at what they've been discussing, that, I mean, it's not, doesn't look positive on FIFA as an organization and as well ahead of the World Cup.
Yeah, sadly, you know, this kind of thing actually detract from the performance on the field. And we've had a lot of issues about FIFA, the Qatar corruption case going on now. And I think maybe in hindsight, they should have waited maybe a bit later to have the Congress and even for Blatter to mention that he's going to run again. And I think UEFA are very right, you know, in standing against that, because I think he's been there a long time. And there's always been these allegations of corruption and very few countries benefiting from the global football scene, you know. So maybe it's time for a change now.
Sudeesh, I know that we could go on and on, but because of time, I have to end the interview here. And thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And that was Sudeesh Singh, our soccer analyst. Now.